With the first stage of the college football transfer portal complete, we take a look at both what USC and UCLA have accomplished. UCLA basketball's 14-game winning streak gets snapped, and with the NHL trade deadline looming, it's becoming obvious where the LA Kings need an upgrade. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city of the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is January 22nd, 2023. It's a Sunday. Treat yourself to some downtime. The Lord calls it a day of rest for a reason. And by the way, we added somebody to the Angelino familia yesterday. I appreciate every last one of you, sincerely. So let's talk a little LA sports. If you like the content that we put out, click and clack the like button. Click and clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It lets you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Why not? It's in front of the TV day, right? So before we go through the news and notes, we're going to take a quick look at the scoreboard. 5th-ranked UCLA's 14-game winning streak is no more. It's a good run. Lasted for over 2 months. Number 11, Arizona posted a 58-52 victory in Tucson. Tiger Campbell scored 13 points, and 4 Bruins did score in double figures. But only 5 Bruins scored off the entire roster, right? I mean, UCLA's defense is fine, but you can't have David Singleton play 35 minutes and give you 0 points. Now, I'm not trying to tell you it's all his fault. That's not where I'm going. There's plenty of places to look at. But 0 points in 35 minutes, that is not a good night or a good afternoon. Aside from that, love the physicality, love the bitterness, and if those two meet in the Pac-12 conference tournament final, you can bet I'm going to be at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas to watch that. I love angry, bitter games. USC defeated Arizona State 77-69. Vince Iwuchukwu broke out last night, and I don't mean a rash from one of the Tucson strippers. Trust me, been to Tucson, not a great way to spend an evening, but I digress. The freshman center played 14 minutes. Now, that's the most he's played this year. He scored 12 points with 5 rebounds. So it is a tremendous performance, albeit limited. We know why it's limited. He had cardiac arrest last summer. So you see what the Trojans have to gamble with during the course of the year. Andy Enfield's system with USC has been basically to try to funnel things through his big man and have all these perimeter players take advantage of the people going in towards the middle, right? They did it with the Mobley brothers. So for Drew Peterson to excel, for Boogie Ellis to excel, they want defenders to come down in on Iwuchukwu. But the poor guy had a cardiac arrest incident. So there's a balancing act that USC has here. Meanwhile, Nashville defeated the Kings 5-2. LA started the game playing like garbage, and they ended the game playing like garbage. We're going to have to talk in detail about that more in a minute or two. Meanwhile, today, the Lakers are at Portland at 6. The Clippers are at Dallas at 12:30. I made a mistake. I was misinformed that these games were on Saturday. I went to Google instead of the team sites for the schedule. That's on me. I apologize. Meanwhile, the Kings are in Chicago at 4:30. Now, 5 of the top 15 teams in 24/7 Sports team transfer portal rankings are from the Pac-12. And yes, that includes the Bruins, and it also includes the Trojans. So I want to start off with UCLA because the Bruins did one of 2 things that they needed to do. They have a tougher offseason plan to execute, and they're only halfway through it, to put it best. You see, if you look at the team, they lost a ton of offensive skill. They lost their quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They lost Zach Charbonnet, the running back, and then they lose their 2 starting wide receivers, right? Now, thanks to the transfer portal, big whoop. They recovered from that in a matter of a couple of days. They landed 2 wideouts. They landed one from USC. They landed one from Cal. The one from Cal, J. Michael Sturdivant, caught 7 touchdowns last year. They landed a running back who rushed for more than 1,500 yards. And even though their new starting quarterback is probably going to come from high school as opposed to the transfer portal. Colin Shee was somebody they grabbed from the transfer portal, so they landed on their feet there. But having said that, here's what I absolutely do not like. I hate it, matter of fact. And I know hate is a strong word, but I hate this. The Bruins did next to nothing in terms of defensive upgrades. Oh, sure, they got people coming in, but it's just random people. Like, we're talking about people from the Ivy League. The Ivy League. To a Power 5 conference? Really? I mean, if you dominate in Los Angeles, you become a star. You dominate the Ivy League, and we don't even know if these dudes did dominate the Ivy League. Maybe you impress a girl named Constance or Hildegard, right? There's a big, big difference in terms of what it takes to dominate the Ivy League as opposed to dominating in a Power 5 conference. So no, I do not like what UCLA did on defense. I don't. We'll have to see what they get either later in the transfer portal or through good old-fashioned high school recruiting. Now, I agree, it may be too many holes to fill, but UCLA had to address both. And Chip Kelly, being an offense-first type of guy, he's always been offense-first, he could not break from his nature. He's literally the scorpion riding on the back of the frog going across the river, if you've ever heard of that parable before. Meanwhile, again, a little up and down for the Trojans. The 2021 recruiting class for USC continues to get gutted. USC lost another couple of their 22 signees from that class. They've lost 9 signees from that class overall, which was supposedly highly regarded, but that was Clay Helton's last class. And as far as I'm concerned, I want the split from everything related to Clay Helton to be as complete as possible. What I do like about USC, though, is that they have completely rebuilt their defensive line via the portal. All 3 starters, and they are from bigger schools, are from the portal. Now, I'm not trying to suggest any of them are going to be as dominant as Tuli Tuipulotu, who led the nation in sacks. Of course not. But now it's a deeper unit. Players who started next to Tuipulotu this last season are probably going to go down on the depth chart a little bit. So it's a much more solid unit. Now, having said that, you're still praying that defensive Alex Grinch is smart enough to learn from his vast number of mistakes from last year. And I've been saying this to you guys ever since both the Trojans and the Bruins collapsed in their respective bowl games. First school to sanity wins, fellas. First school to remember that defense matters. That's the one that wins. Meanwhile, some group called Fan Nation listed who is the best NFL prospect per position in the Pac-12. So, Tuli Tuipulotu from USC is the best defensive line prospect. The Trojans' Andrew Voorhees is the top offensive line prospect. Jordan Addison is the top wide receiver prospect. Zach Charbonnet of UCLA is the best running back prospect, and basically what I did was tell you something that you already knew. Props to me. The Athletic has listed every NHL team's biggest need at the trade deadline. And for the Kings, the scribe just couldn't make up his damn mind. Oh, is it left-handed defenseman? Oh, is it goaltender? And I just don't see why this is such a big controversy. At this point, it's goalie. There's no doubt in my mind. Look, Phoenix Copley has performed okay, but he's not the cure. He has been basically like putting a Band-Aid on a gaping head wound, okay? After allowing 4 goals to Dallas a couple of nights ago, he allowed 2 more goals in the first 39 seconds. In the first 39 seconds of last night's match in Nashville. That is the 11th fastest time that a team scored twice in the history of the NHL. The NHL's been around for almost 100 years. Meanwhile, they bring in Jonathan Quick after pulling Copley. Quick seems to do okay for almost 2 full periods. But then, towards the end of the game, he allows 3 quick goals. Game over. Game over. So a left-handed defenseman is oh so nice. Even adorable, I would use the word. That would be an adorable pickup for the Kings. That would be like a newborn kitten playing with its first ball of yarn. But as far as I'm concerned, this is hockey. Hockey is not adorable. You have to start with who's in net. Now, that's going to be a tall order for the Kings, especially when you consider they don't have a lot of cap space right now. There have been names that have been bandied about, but I'm going to hold off on that because the trade deadline is about 2 weeks away, and the rumors are going to start to sound a little bit more plausible in a couple of days, hopefully. So instead of just throwing names just to throw them against a wall, let's see what actually matters. The LA Sparks traded with WNBA champion Las Vegas for Derek Hamby, which is the second step in the Sparks rebuild, but that is not the important thing. What matters is the league has launched an investigation Saturday after an unnamed player accused Vegas of serious concerns over player treatment. The WNBA did not say the player was Hamby, but it most likely is. Hamby went to social media and blasted the Aces because they accused her of signing a contract extension knowing she was pregnant. For lack of a better word, they accused her of fraud. After the Aces won their title last year, Hamby tells everybody, she's like, hey, I'm super excited. I just found out I'm pregnant again. Now, the Aces allegedly questioned her commitment to the team because they didn't want her to get knocked up for another two years. She claims she was asked if she planned the pregnancy. She was asked, allegedly, if she took precautions against getting pregnant or whether she was even taking her workout seriously. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I admit I'm not a WNBA guy. And I also admit I'm the furthest thing from a social justice warrior. And I also get that you don't want to see your players dragging a placenta up and down the court. But if her accusations are on point, she's got a real case. This is freaking creepy. You're not supposed to be asking your people about their private lives like that. That's ridiculous. I mean, I understand the point about you want to win games or whatever, but you can't sit there and force somebody to do a certain type of sex life, right? Or abstain. You can't do it. You can try. Good luck, Catholic Church, but it doesn't happen. Now, as for the trade itself, the Sparks sent a player that I've never heard of and a second-round pick for Hamby. Hamby is a two-time sixth woman of the year. The Sparks also get back a first-round draft pick. Side note, I love how Sports Illustrated called the trade a blockbuster. How the hell is it a blockbuster? I don't know anybody. Give me players I know. I'll call it a blockbuster. This ain't a blockbuster. The Dodgers have signed right-handed pitcher Tyler Sear to a minor league contract. He pitched for the Phillies and Oakland last year. He did impress with the A's in relief. It was a 2.08 ERA, but it was only 13 innings. So, yeah, it's a minor league deal. Some in baseball are surprised the Dodgers have not signed Julio Urias to a long-term contract yet. All things considered, he's their ace now, so I can understand the question. But the way that this makes sense is LA is trying to reset their salary cap by the end of the year. This matters to the Dodgers a ton. He's only 26. He is their ace, and he is entering his physical prime. Did you notice something in the post-game interview with Tyronn Lue after the Clippers defeated San Antonio? He referred to Paul George, as the team's point guard. Now, this might be a wrinkle that could work. He didn't turn the ball over on Friday. Also, it could allow the Clippers to add another forward out there and, as a result, play with a bigger lineup. However, there is a problem that the Clippers are getting aside from ball control. They were among the league's elite defensive teams. But in the last month, from mid-December to now, they have tumbled to fourth worst in points per 100 possessions. Subscribe asked if the Rams should promote Thomas Brown. After all, he's getting all these interview requests to be a head coach. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how the hell do you promote him? He's the assistant head coach. There's pretty much only one seat above that, and they're not getting rid of Sean McVay. Come on, Scribes, wake up. Meanwhile, the Rams might be losing another coach. The Chargers and Baltimore have requested permission to interview Rams quarterbacks coach Zach Robinson for their vacant offensive coordinator gig. Robinson survived the wrath of McVay from last week. But if he leaves, that would make as many as 9 openings on the Rams coaching staff. Now, if Robinson wants to be an offensive coordinator, and he should, where would be a good fit? Well, The Athletic ranked the top 10 vacant offensive coordinator jobs out there. The Chargers are number 1. The Rams are honestly, the Rams are number 2 in terms of offensive coordinator openings. Both teams have elite quarterbacks and plenty of skill at wide receiver. The Ravens, by the way, are number 4. The problem is Baltimore does not have a lot of weapons outside of Lamar Jackson, and that's assuming Lamar Jackson even stays. Joey Bosa was fined $55,000 for blasting the referees after the Chargers lost their playoff game in Jacksonville. Some scribe described it as a massive fine, $55,000. Hey, Joey Bosa's minimum base salary is $27 million, bud. $55,000 ain't nothing but like me buying a Snickers bar. Get over yourself. Let's assume Joey Bosa doesn't care. Also, we did mention the Chargers wanted to talk turkey with Zach Robinson. They did get permission as well, the Chargers did, to speak with Vikings quarterback coach Jerrod Johnson. He was also the Indianapolis Colts offensive quality control coach at one point in his career. But I must say, if Johnson were to consider the Chargers, it would behoove him to ask Wes Phillips why he turned down the Bolts last week. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about USC and UCLA in the transfer portal. Let me know what you think about their basketball teams. For that matter, the Kings. Who would you like to see start in net for them? And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports each and every day. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Porta El Queso production. Take care.